What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monte Sports Show. It is Sunday, September 28th, 2020. I am your host, Monte Perez, a.k.a. The Sports Whisperer. You can follow me on social media, Monte JP231, on Twitter, Facebook, Monte Perez, and Instagram, Monte Perez 2. We had 32 states tune in last week to the full Monte Sports Show. I want to thank everyone. Our goal is to do this 5 days a week, and we're getting there. The numbers are great, so if you like this show, you like sports and comedy, feel free to repost this on your social media and send it to your friends and family. And we love the comments every week. We have so much fun with these comments, so please keep them coming. Already, George Lopez is starting us off. Laura, Andrea, so thank you all so much for commenting and keeping the show going. In about 20 minutes, look, we have the best guests all across the country, and this week is no exception. Rudy Reyes is going to join us to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the AFC North. And then we have Titletown Brawl, Packers, here we go, Packers. Brandon Jackson, former Super Bowl winner with Green Bay, is going to join us, and Jay Andrews, the host of Titletown Brawl. Those guys are always a fun listen. And then at the top of the hour, one of our favorite guests, Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano, is going to join us to talk fantasy football and the NFL roundtable discussion. Look, Rico he has 2 winning weeks, 0 losing weeks against the spread, and we give you the best fantasy football picks for that week, so you definitely want to check that out. But as always, let's start our journey with this. Now, we've all been to the Department of Motor Vehicles, okay? We've all been to the Department of Motor Vehicles, the dreaded DMV. And I don't care where you go. I don't care what state you're in. No matter what DMV you go to, it always smells like bad cabbage and bad potatoes. There's only one other place in the world that you go to and it smells the same every time, and that is Times Square in New York City. No matter what time of day, I don't care if it's 2 in the morning. I don't care if it's 2 at night. Times Square always smells like urine and dirty water hot dogs. And every DMV you go to, it's going to smell like cabbage and potatoes. Now, I don't expect anyone to dress up for the DMV. I don't expect you to look like a supermodel. But comedian Sebastian Maniscalco once said, when you're out seeing the world sees you. As soon as I walk into the DMV, there's a woman there with rollers on and her pajama bottoms. Rollers and pajama. Have we just given up? Have we just packed it in as a nation when you leave your house out in public with rollers and pajama bottoms? I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing? So my sister took me because I had to replace my New Jersey license and I was in California. So I have every form of ID. I have 347 forms of ID with me. I go up, I get everything done. I tell my sister, you don't have to wait. It's about a 2 mile from my house. I'll run home. So all I kept was my passport. So I'm sitting there. Finally, my number gets called. I walk up to the counter and the woman says to me, he don't go down to the bayou. What? He don't go down to the bayou. I said, excuse me? Are you speaking in tongues? She says, oh, I'm sorry, child. I thought you were from New Orleans. I said, New Orleans? No, I'm from New Jersey. In God's eyes, we all look the same. That's what she says. We all look the same in God's eyes. No, I don't think so. Let's just recap that statement. New Orleans gave us Harry Connick Jr. New Jersey gives us Paulie D. New Orleans gave us Ellen DeGeneres. New Jersey gives us Snooki from the Jersey Shore. So I don't think I don't think Harry Connick, Paulie D are the same. I don't think Ellen DeGeneres and Snooki are the same. And if God's grading on a curve, God bless him. Because if God is looking at Paulie D as the same as Harry Connick, I don't know, God. I don't know. So I get up to the thing, and she says to me, "Okay, child, how are you going to pay for this?" Now, normally I never pay for checks, with checks, ever. But I just got these checks in the bank, so I'm like, let me use this. I will pay with a check. She says, you need 2 forms of ID. So I show her my passport, and she says, you need another form of ID. And I said, yeah, I know I need another form of ID. It's right there in your hand, my driver's license. She's like, no, you need 2 forms of ID. I said, I have 2 forms of ID. I have my passport, and if you look at the driver's license, I'm wearing the same shirt. It's me. There's your 2 forms of ID. She's like, I'm sorry, I can't give you your license without another form of ID. I said, well, look, unless you want a DNA sample or you want a urine sample, I don't know what to tell you. So she looks at me and she starts to freak out. She says, oh no, not another peer. She gives me my ID and puts going on break. I didn't have to pay. I didn't have to do anything. So it begs me to the question, does this work anywhere else? If you threaten to pee, can I go into the boss of Nuts and Bolts Sports, Joe Cardozo, and say, hey, Joe, give me a raise or I'm going to urinate on your desk? You go to a restaurant, I'm sorry, we're out of key lime pie. Well, you better get it or I'm going to tinkle. So as she's leaving, she looks at me and she says, I survived polio. I survived an iron lung. And I will survive peeing. First of all, polio, iron lung? How old is this woman? What decade are we in? An iron lung and polio? So what's my obligation here? What's my obligation? Now, do I just leave and not pay for my driver's license? Now, look, I have no redeeming qualities, and I'm going to get into this with Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano later. But the one thing the one thing my parents have taught me is I'm honest. And I'm not going to not pay for my driver's license. So I go to a line that was just a generic line, and I'm going to say, look, I have to pay for my license. Honest guy, right? It's my only redeeming quality. I don't have a personality. I don't have any hobbies. So I'm in the line, and there's this one woman there whose only job is to tell people to stop. And then she waves the person to go to the window. Now, when the person goes to the window, she just yells, stop, to the next person. So I'm like 4th in line. There's a woman behind me. And when she says stop the 3rd time, the woman behind me goes, collaborate and listen. ICE is back with a brand new invention. So I start to laugh. She says stop again. And the woman behind me goes, collaborate and listen. ICE is back with a brand new invention. So I look at her and I go, what's going on? And she points, and standing right next to me, in front of me no less, is none other than Robert Matthew Van Winkle. Now, I don't know if you know who Robert Matthew Van Winkle is, but I will tell you, it's Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice is at the Beverly Hills DMV in front of me. So when she says stop one more time, I start to sing, collaborate and listen. ICE is back with a brand new invention. So he looks back at me in disgust and he says, yeah, real funny. You recognize me because of that. Of course I recognize you because of that. And I said, where else am I going to recognize you from? And he goes, yeah, how about my acting career? Hello? Vanilla Ice did one movie, Cool as Ice, released in 1991. Now, this movie was so bad, it was rated the worst movie, not of the year, but of the decade. And if you've seen movies in the 1990s, they're all terrible. The 80s were great, the 90s were awful, 2000 was pretty good. So he wants me to recognize him for his acting skills. Now, let me just explain one thing to Vanilla Ice. When it comes to frozen actors, cold actors, he's fourth on the depth chart. And let's go through this. Number 1, Ice-T is ahead of Vanilla Ice. Law and Order's Special Victim Unit. Ice-T is ahead of him. Ice Cube is ahead of him. NWA rapper. He went from being a gangster rapper to being in family movies. So those are the two that are ahead of Vanilla Ice's acting career. And of course, third in the top 4 is Snow Miser. The Snow Miser had a part-time role in 1974, and he is more popular than the one-time actor Vanilla Ice. So to his credit, he goes up to the thing, he starts signing everyone's autograph, and he's like, "Do you want my autograph?" I said, "No, I'm good." He's like, "I don't care, man. I'm giving you my autograph." And he just signs, "Word to your mother." So you're telling me you want me to really appreciate your acting career, but you sign "Word to your mother" from your Ice Ice Baby song. What's the moral of the story here? The moral of the story is I was talking to someone about, Christmas specials, and they told me last week, there's no way in hell I can get Snow Miser into my opening rant based on a true story, and I did, so I'm very proud to share that with you, and that is the end of my opening rant. Now, we start each show with the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's look at the good, right? We're seeing a bunch of young coordinators and head coaches who were once coordinated. Sean McVay, here of the Rams. He's 2-0. Cliff Kingsbury, Arizona, 2-0. Matt LaFleur, 2-0. And look at these guys. Are they not hunks? I mean, these guys are all in shape, good looking. They're all 2-0. I want you to watch something this Sunday, guys. I want you to watch how many misdirections the Rams run, the Packers run, Arizona runs. They all think you're going one way and then you go the next. These three coaches are young, good-looking, hip, and they're changing the face of offenses in the NFL. So that's the good. Now let's turn to the bad. Matt Patricia, 9-24-1 as a head coach. 9-24-1. And again, I'm not making fun of someone's weight. I'm not making fun of someone's appearance, but a backwards hat and an unshaven beard. Look at his beard. Look at the gel in his hair. Look at this stud. Look at this guy. And then we get this. And here's the problem, people. Here's the problem. Matt Patricia last week came out of halftime and he had particles of food in his beard. Now, I'm not talking about like chips. I'm not talking about a cookie. He had a whole buffalo wing stuck in his beard. Okay, I'm obviously joking. But Matt Patricia, what are you doing, man? You're 9-24, a backwards hat. You're not in a fraternity. Do something. Win games. Again, he had a whole buffalo wing stuck in his beard. Obviously, I'm joking. But Matt Patricia has been a disaster in Detroit. Adam Gase has been a disaster with the Jets. These guys need to be fired immediately. Cut all ties. You look at what's going on in the NFL. You look at these three coaches, and they are getting it done. They are getting it done, both stylish-wise and winning-wise. 6-0. Now, that's the good. We have the bad. Now let's move to the ugly. Okay, this is Tyrod Taylor. Okay, rookie Justin Herbert is going to make the start for the second week in a row out of Oregon, and thank goodness. But you never want to see someone get injured. And when they get injured, this is like the worst thing I could think of. Okay, Taylor was unable to play last weekend after difficulty breathing following a pregame injection that inadvertently punctured his lung. A member of the team's medical staff punctured this guy's lung. There were complications with the shot. This is going to be a severe lawsuit. I don't know when Tyrod Taylor is going to come back. I don't think he's ever going to play for the Chargers again unless Justin Herbert, the rookie out of Oregon, gets hurt. But that is absolutely disgusting. I mean, look, mistakes happen, okay? But they gave him a shot for a chest injury, and he couldn't start because they punctured his lung. I hope he gets better. I don't care if you like a team, dislike a team. We never root for injuries. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, before we get to my picks, let's do something we love to do. Let's surf the crowd. One of my favorite things is just interacting with the people. You know, we love to have comments and just, you know, yes, George, yeah. George Lopez says 347 forms of ID. I am the sports Jason Bourne. Yes. Paulie D. Oh, how about that? Said, well, New Jersey, sure, but Laura correcting me. Paulie D is from Rhode Island, and Snooki is from Poughkeepsie. What bothers me more than anything is not that I was wrong, but the fact that Laura knows that Paulie D is from Rhode Island and Snooki is from Poughkeepsie. Way too much information. Way too much information regarding the Jersey Shore. I do not give up. I do have Cobra Kai in my blood. Thank you for that. And what's so good about this comment right here is that I have Cobra Kai in my blood, is that I'm just going to tell you right now. This week, Cobra Kai in my blood, yes, 100%. I was 10-1 last week in my picks. 10-1. And people criticized me for going 10-1. They said, Monte, you're 10-1, but you pick straight winners. You're not picking against the spread. And I said, of course I'm not picking against the spread. Show me the money Graziano, who's now going to be Rico. Here comes the money Graziano, as we see Shane McMahon. And for those who don't know, Shane McMahon is the CEO of WWE. Every time he comes out into the crowd, they sing, here comes the money. So Rico is going to be here comes the money right now because he has 2 winning weeks, no losing weeks over the past year and 2 weeks. Rico is 15-3-1 predicting against the spread. But the reason why I predict straight winners and not against the spread is because 60% of my audience doesn't bet on games. So I just want to give you things to look for. Things to look for during the game and who's going to win. Example, Rico picked the Giants to win last week against the spread. The spread was 5 points. The Giants lost 17-13 to the Chicago Bears, who are now 2-0. Rico picked the Giants to win, which is fine, but they lost the game, but he won the bet. I'm just going straight winners. I was 10-1 last week, 19-7 overall on the year. 19-7. So let's get right to it. We'll go through these real quickly, and then we'll bring on Rudy Reyes. The Tampa Bay Bucks, 1-1 at the 0-2 Denver Broncos. Tom Brady is 4-7 all-time on the road against Denver, including the playoffs. But this is not the same Denver Broncos. They lost their number 1 wide receiver, Cortland Sutton, with a torn ACL. They lost their number 1 linebacker, Von Miller, and their starting quarterback, Drew Lock, is going to miss a few weeks. Tampa Bay, as we've seen here, Todd Bowles, former Jet quarterback. Todd Bowles is in the category of a great coordinator like Wade Phillips, like Norv Turner, but not a great head coach. Todd Bowles has done a masterful job with this defense. And look, Tampa Bay could have the best defense by the end of the year. I like Tampa Bay winning here 27-17. 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals versus the 0-2 Philadelphia Eagles. Look, guys, I'm watching this game. My brother Pete is a huge Justin Herbert fan. By the way, LSU lost yesterday. Yeah, the national champs lost yesterday, Pete. So, you know, sorry about that. And I'm so petty. Here's what we go. 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals, 0-2 Philadelphia Eagles. Look, everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm not watching this game. It's 0-2. But think about this. Teams that go 0-3 have less than a 12% chance of making the playoffs. The Bengals defense has been so bad last year. They're allowing 152.9 rushing yards per game. I like the Eagles here. Carson Wentz, 31-24. But think about this. If the Eagles lose this game, is Jalen Hurts, the rookie out of Oklahoma, going to start over Carson Wentz? because my boy Carson Wentz has been absolutely awful. Awful. 1-1 San Francisco 49ers take on the 0-2 Giants. Look, the Giants lost their best player. Saquon Barkley has a torn ACL. He's out for the year. My friend Jared is literally on the George Washington Bridge about to jump off because the San Francisco 49ers are probably going to be with that 10 to 13 starters, but it doesn't matter. The Giants are really bad. San Francisco has enough. And here's what we've heard all along. We've heard all along that Mike Shanahan, the San Francisco 49er coach, is an absolute genius. Well, show me, Mike. Show me that you can win without your starters, like Bill Belichick is doing without 8 starters in New England. I'm going to take the 49ers here to win. I'm going to take them to win 24-20. Now we move to a big game. Tennessee Titans 2-0 at the 0-2 Minnesota Vikings. I don't know what's happening with the Vikings, but they need to run Dalvin Cook early and often. Kirk Cousins has been atrocious. 7 interceptions in his last 6 games. Listen, you can say whatever you want about Ryan Tannehill. He's with a defensive coach now. He left Adam Gase, and Ryan Tannehill is playing perfectly in this system. So I'm going to take Tennessee here, and they're going to win 23-20. Washington football team at the Cleveland Browns. Listen, the Washington front four is dominant. And we know that Baker Mayfield is terrible when you got to force him out of the pocket. But I just think that they should run Nick Chubb, run Kareem Hunt early and often, take the Browns here 27-23. 2-0 Chicago Bears at the 0-2 Atlanta Falcons. Here's what's so crazy about this game, guys. Here's what's so crazy about this game. The Falcons and Dan Quinn, and they can't stop anyone on defense. The Bears have an offensive coach in Matt Nagy, and they can't score any points. Does anyone have any faith in Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago or outside of Chicago? We don't know if Julio Jones is playing, but the Alabama second-year wide receiver, Calvin Ridley, is an absolute stud. Before I got on the air, I had the Bears winning. I'm changing my mind. I'm taking the Falcons to win in an upset, 24-23. Carolina Panthers at the Chargers. We already said that my boy Justin Herbert is going to get the start out of Oregon. Look, Carolina can't stop anyone on defense. They've been terrible. They've allowed 20 or more points in 14 straight games. Take Justin Herbert, take Keenan Allen big here. They score 31 points. Carolina's without their stud running back, Christian McCaffrey. They win this game. The LA Chargers do 34-20. Colts. This is a big game for the Jets fans. The Colts going in. I mean, look, the Colts, these are the 2 things you need to know about this game. The Colts have the best offensive line in the NFL. They are 3rd in sacks. All you need to know about the Jets is 12 of their last 18 games under Gates, they've scored less than 20 points. Again, Colts are 3rd in sacks. Their offensive line, if you play fantasy football, start Jonathan Taylor. He's going to have over 100 yards for the Colts. Colts win in a rout, 34-17. Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions. The Cardinals are 2-0. Detroit Lions are 0-2. Second-year quarterback. Here's a video of him. He is just so thrifty, crafty, sneaky. He is Russell Wilson with better speed. They are going to roll the Detroit Lions. Hopefully, Matt Patricia, like we said earlier, doesn't walk onto the field with buffalo wings in his beard. And I like the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. Again, if you're starting a fantasy football team, take Kyler Murray here. They win big, 38-24. Finally, Monday night, the best game of the week. You have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. Both are 2-0. Listen, guys, I want the Chiefs to win, but I'm going to be honest here. They've trailed in their last 5 games at halftime. We are going to take the Baltimore Ravens to win this game 30-27. A late score, late field goal by Justin Tucker. And I like the Ravens going 3-0 and the Chiefs going 2-1. And there you have it. The NFL Roundup. Again, I went 10-1 last week. 10-1. So we are ready to go this week. We are fired up with our picks. And we're going to be on Rudy Reyes right now. Rudy, thanks so much for joining the Full Monty Football Show. How are you today?
Hey, man, I'm doing fantastic. Just ready for a full day of football, including Sunday night, and then looking at Monday night. Oh, my gosh, that's going to be probably the best game of the week. And I completely agree with you in regards to the NFL picks that you had made. There's a lot of issues going on in Atlanta right now in regards to a rookie corner tested positive for COVID. So we're going to find out what the NFL comes up with. And clearly, there's an investigation going on in Las Vegas with the Raiders in regards to unauthorized access to the room there by an unknown person, at least at this point, until the investigation comes full circle. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. You're talking about Arizona. I really like that kid, Kyle Murray, just absolutely fantastic. And to be quite honest with you, when you look at this team, you just think to yourself, "Oh my gosh, can it get any worse for any 0-2 teams?" You mentioned Carson Wentz, and of course, I'll always talk about Carson Wentz because of the continual back injury, a continual back problem. Now, complementary receivers not there in this Philly game. It's going to be Philly dilly if they're going to get it done. Doug Peterson, along with Carson Wentz, who's their backup quarterback? Where's the quality? I've talked about this on Twitter. You know that. There's just a huge problem that I have with Philadelphia. He puts his receivers in trouble in very tight coverage, and that could cause season-ending injuries. I mean, I do like Carson Wentz as a person, but he just has not came to full circle because of the continual injury problems. I just don't know whether or not Carson Wentz is going to show up. There's a lot of issues that they have on both sides of the ball, to be quite honest with you.
So do you like Joe Burrow and Cincinnati to go in there and get a win? And if they do get a win, do you bench Carson Wentz for Jalen Hurts?
To be honest with you, I don't really have a whole lot of faith in that Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. I mean, it's been relatively meek. I mean, Joe Burrow has had a run for his life on practically every down, so the pressure.
Rudy, he's been hit 22 times in 2 games. And this is why I'm starting in today in DraftKings. But, Rico, who does our fantasy, he loved Joe Mixon at the start of the season. They have no offensive line.
No, and you're not going to be able to put people through those gaps. Those running backs do not see daylight because that line collapses way too often. And being where they're at right now from a historical view, they're on the outside looking in. And I think overall, when you look at the Bengals by the end of the year, they still do not end up leapfrogging the Cleveland Browns. And we'll talk about that later on. But
yes,
I just think that within the AFC North dynamic, looking at Joe Burrow, that's great to pick him number 1, but I said it before they even drafted him. They have offensive line problems, and in order to keep him upright, they need that protection. What didn't they do? They didn't draft any offensive linemen.
Great point.
Upright, enabling him to make those dime drops he did at LSU last year.
I will say this, Rudy. Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert look like the real deal. If they could stay healthy, I think both of them are going to have great careers in the NFL.
Absolutely right. Justin Herbert just looked absolutely on point, minus that interception. I think look, the NFL has these uprising stars, and predominantly we always want to talk about quarterbacks. We always want to talk about how their splash plays and, coaches talking them up with Orgeron and LSU. It really makes me wonder where these guys would actually be at if the NFL teams that drafted them had beefed up in areas that will keep guys like Justin Herbert upright, Joe Burrow upright, and enabling them to not hit that turf, hit that ground that ultimately will be their downfall because someone's going to land on them awkwardly or against their legs or their feet or their ankles, and it's going to be horror all over again. Tyrod Taylor still not starting. Justin Herbert named the starter in
right, but I will say this. If you look at the 2 teams, the LA Chargers have very good talent on offense. Even though Derwin James got injured, they have very good talent on defense. They may have the most untalked about defensive backs in the league. The Chargers are built to win now. So Justin Herbert could have success. But, Rudy, let's move towards your area of expertise, the NFL, and in particular the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking with Rudy Reyes. You can follow him at Rude Dog Reyes here on the Full Monty Sports Show. When a person first comes on my show, you've been on my podcast, but you haven't been on the YouTube show, we try to give them something to feel good about. And you see defenses all over the last decade, previous decades, and you talk about the 85 Bears. We talk about the 86 Giants. We talk about the 2000 Ravens. But I got to tell you, for my money, Is this the best defense over the course of a decade in the history of the NFL? The scary steel curtain with their linebackers. Were the Steelers in the 70s the best defense to ever play the game?
That's a really good question. There's so much diverse talent that went on with drafting these guys. Bill Nutt Jr., who posthumously is getting voted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know why he wouldn't get in. He was the co-architect along with Chuck Noll, enabling these guys to be picked. Joe Green, Stallworth. I mean, they're just a plethora. Lynn Swann. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Defensively, these guys were fantastic. Donnie Shell. These Steelers in the 70s were absolutely fantastic. When you look at what they had done, leading them to 4 Super Bowl titles, obviously opposite of that in between, but this year's Steelers defense, this current decade of Steelers defense looks and eerily reminds me of what had happened when the Steelers had Jack Ham in the 1970s. I think.
Wow, Rudy, that's high praise, my friend. That is high praise.
Well, look what Minkah Fitzpatrick did last year. He was originally drafted by the Dolphins, had a chance to interview him when he got drafted. He says, look, I want to play wherever they need me to play, how they need me to play, in whatever capacity I need to play in. The problem was that the Dolphins secondary has been horrible and continues to struggle with pick sixes and opportunities with balls thrown their direction. It hasn't changed anywhere near there in Miami at this point. Minkah comes over in a trade, first-round pick. And to be quite honest with you, George, I appreciate the actual chime in. It's going to be close. Again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I think the Steelers defense finished last year probably ranked 3, I think it was 3 or 5 out of top 10 defenses with interception returns for touchdowns and or creating points off those turnovers. So the Steelers are no chumps. They're no slouchers. People keep talking about, well, they need to get, J.J. Watt in there. No, hold your horses. Steelers aren't going to go through all that nonsense and have all 3 brothers on a roster. That's unheard of. And besides that, you have his younger brother, T.J. Watt, who arguably is the better.
He's better than J.J. Watt right now. He's better than J.J. Watt.
Yes,
I thought he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. Like you said, getting Minkah Fitzpatrick. By the way, people are commenting, yes, Rudy has the best voice in radio. He should be doing those movie spots Friday. He can't coming out this weekend. You have the best voice, Rudy. But I want to talk about this because you brought it up with their defense. I thought Mike Tomlin did the best coaching job of his career last year, and they went 8-8. Okay, I don't understand where Mike Tomlin gets criticized. He's never had a losing record. Bill Belichick was 36-44 without Tom Brady. What do you like about Mike Tomlin? What don't you like? Why does he get national criticism when he's never had a losing season? And you look at Antonio Brown, who not just was kept in check, but he can't even function in society. He was functioning in Pittsburgh. You look at Le'Veon Bell, who, when he left the Steelers, was number 1 in the history of the NFL of all-purpose yards from scrimmage. He can't even do anything with the Jets. Talk about Mike Tomlin, because I think he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and I think he's an absolute stud. If the Steelers decide to fire him, he'll have a job in 30 seconds.
Yeah, actually, a blink of an eye is probably a lot less than 30 seconds, to be quite honest with you. Mike Tomlin is a guy who always wants to live in his fears. He wants to live on the edge. Do I question some of the defensive calls, some of the offensive calls that he's been a part of in regards to situational football with the Steelers throughout his tenure? Yes, he won a Super Bowl. At least he did. However, look, when you go back in depth, he inherited a lot of players on the roster that he won that Super Bowl with. Now, not to suggest that Mike Tomlin does not have the capability of being a Hall of Fame caliber coach. However, when you look at the architecture that led Mike Tomlin into that role to win Super Bowl 43, certainly begs the question as to whether or not he can move this team forward past 8-8. Last year, he did an absolute stellar job with Devlin Hodges. He did it with Mason Rudolph. He did it with a lot less. Coaches would not be able to do that, would not be able to function with the type of issues that Mike Tomlin has had to contend with, from lack of personnel, from not having Ben Roethlisberger last year, his quarterback by committee. You heard a running back by committee. This is quarterback by committee.
Which you can't survive in the NFL doing that. You can't. You just can't. I mean, you lose Big Ben, and we'll get to that next. He's coming off elbow surgery. Right now, he's completing 68% of his passes, 273 yards. What I like, he's not making the big turnover. 5 TDs, 1 interception. What have you noticed, if anything, differently about Big Ben this year?
I think when you look at Ben Roethlisberger, I think his sense of awareness, his comfort inside of the pocket, his ability to recognize when that pressure breaks down, Ben Roethlisberger does his scamper because he's the older guy. He's a veteran on that team. He's the leader of the team. He's a captain of that team, has been since inception, since Tommy Maddox went down. I think Ben Roethlisberger looks comfortable in the pocket, outside of the pocket, and making those throws, and no interceptions leading into week 3. I think Big Ben, one of those guys where he wanted to come back for his teammates. He said it numerous amounts of times. I believe that. Now, remember when the opposite was true, when Jerome Bettis was going to hang up his cleats, he decided, I'm going to talk to some of the guys on the team. Don't forget, Mean Joe Green in the backdrop offline spoke to Terry Bradshaw and said, hey, look, man, you can't leave us. We know Chuck Noll's a hard guy, but Ben Roethlisberger has had the customary guy in Mike Tomlin to really look at. Don't forget, he did have Coach Cowher, and I love Coach Cowher. I always will, because of all the things that Coach Cowher had to contend with this, losing his wife and having to balance a lot of off-field and on-field situations. Look, the Steelers have the recipe to win. They're the first 6-time Super Bowl champs in and on record in NFL history. I think Ben is going to have by far a stellar year this year, and it depends on what happens. Maybe injuries have something to do with it. Maybe in the fact alone, if he gets to another Super Bowl, he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. I mean, most quarterbacks that have played in this league, like Warren Moon as an example, never won a title, have not had the capability of
Dan Marino.
There's a laundry list of guys, a laundry list of quarterbacks who had never won one. So Ben doesn't have to prove anything to anyone other than doing it for his teammates, doing it for Steeler Nation. And this is where we're at right now, 2-0 at home against the Texans.
Well, and for Jet fans out there, Chad Pennington never won a Super Bowl. How sad is it that I have to talk about Chad Pennington because in a recent survey, he was voted the greatest Jets quarterback of all time. Rudy, I know you don't understand being a Steeler fan, but how sad is that?
That's extremely sad. No, believe me, I understand. I've seen it with the Cleveland Browns, who's started more quarterbacks outside of the Denver Broncos historically who have never won a Super Bowl. I mean, you can't look. You have to go to Joe Namath if you want the number one player in Jets.
But the Jets fan voted Chad Pennington number one.
Chad Pennington is lucky to where. No, don't even get me started.
All right.
Are you kidding me?
Let's move on. James Conner, when healthy, we've seen it in the first 2 weeks of the season, Rudy. When James Conner is healthy, he's a stud, okay? Last week, at over 100 yards. We know that Juju Smith-Schuster has tremendous chemistry with Big Ben. There's all sorts of controversy right now with Juju Smith-Schuster, how he doesn't take it seriously. He's got a carefree lifestyle. But can you rely on James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster as your number one options moving forward?
To be honest with you, Juju Smith-Schuster was absolutely number one on spot the year prior to last. And it has a lot to do with quarterback play, has a lot to do with receiving balls from guys who are not on the same page, who did not have a training camp. Yes, there was training camp in 2019, not 2020, due to COVID and everything else. But Juju, I don't know that eventually he's going to come into his own, okay? Juju Smith-Schuster is not someone I'm really worried about.
How old is he, 22? What is he, 22?
Yeah.
So, come on. What were we doing at 22? He likes to have fun. He likes to have a good time. I just want a quick comment, and then we'll finish your thought. Could this be possible if Big Ben throws 35 touchdowns, 4,000 yards? Could he be comeback player of the year?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. When you blow out your elbow and you're tearing 15 pieces of ligament that need to be repaired, are you kidding me? How do you not qualify? There have been other quarterbacks who have won comeback player of the year. Ben Roethlisberger, and those quarterbacks have not won a Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger coming back from a season-ending elbow injury, which seen a complete blowout. If he does throw those touchdowns and the yards, all inclusive, you're going to find Ben Roethlisberger on that list of most improved player, comeback player of the year. And I'll tell you this much right now. If they get into playoff contention and conversation and they're deep in the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl, I got to pick it, Monty. I got to pick it. Steelers-Seahawks rematch.
That's wow, really, really. Okay. Listen, I'm going to say this. Sometimes in life, you have to take a step backwards to go forwards. And I don't know if Big Ben, he said when he got the surgery, he was thinking about retirement for about 30 seconds. I think Big Ben missing the entire year, he's really developed a newfound love for film study, for his diet, for what he wants to do. It almost seems like he has a second life because of that injury. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You gain so much perspective. I've interviewed so many guys who end up on season-ending injury. They're on the sideline. They become some of the biggest cheerleaders, some of the best mentalities from not only cheerleading standpoint, but being in case study, understanding defenses, understanding offenses, understanding snap, counts, things of that nature, how to draw defenses off sides. Ben Roethlisberger has become a student of the game. With those student-like attributes, you find that executing on the field, and that's one of the reasons why the Steelers are 2-0 right now, because they study their own film, and they actually apply that with the Texans coming and visiting. They're looking for a win. They are dying right now. They are choking on the air, and it's not going to get any easier today in Pittsburgh.
Well, Rudy, we have about 3 minutes left before we get Brandon Jackson, former Super Bowl winner, against your Steelers when the Packers won, and Jay Andrews, the host of Titletown Brawl. They will talk Green Bay Packers. But real quickly, Houston lost to two very good teams, right? It's not like Houston is 0-2 and they lost to the Jets and the Giants. So talk about this game. Pittsburgh has won 4 or 5 out of Houston. Give us a couple keys to this game right now.
Well, it's about the Steeler defense, not necessarily getting the hits but becoming the pick six guys, becoming the ones who can convert those lanes that they're going to jump into. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden, we've seen it last game where they jumped inside of lanes, passing lanes to create pick six and create opportunities for their team to win. I think the Steelers convert those turnovers into points. You're going to see absolute phantasmic defensive plays on the offensive side.
Did you just say phantasmic?
That's it. Fantastic.
Wow, Rudy. See, that's why you get paid the big bucks. Terminology like that.
On the offensive side of the ball, Ben Roethlisberger is going to have to kind of mix and match. Deontay Johnson had a breakout game last game against the Broncos. And then Chase Claypool, an absolute stud out of Notre Dame, had an 84-yard touchdown against them. So
surprise, right? It's surprise. It's like a third or fourth wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly. So I look at Chase Claypool being the utility guy on that offensive side, whether you want to put him in a tight end stint on the right-hand side or you enable him to go down and deep, which is exactly what he did against the Broncos last week. So I think defensively, offensively, when you look at running back by committee between Snell, Connor, Samuels, the Steelers team is scary right now, very scary, and they don't get the props, they don't get the conversation to talk about them. One of the reasons why I'm talking about it today.
No, it's amazing because you never hear of the Steelers going under the radar, but with Baltimore Ravens being so successful, with Cleveland Browns stealing all the headlights, the Steelers are almost under the radar. We have about a minute left, so break down this division at the end of the season. Give us the record for the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals.
I'll tell you this much. I've loved Lamar Jackson. And when you look at him, when you look at his quarterback play, he had almost 138.4 completion percentage in the QBR, which is absolutely fantastic and off the hook. I
think they beat Kansas City. Do you agree with that this weekend?
I'm going to have to go with that assessment for a lot of reasons. And it's not necessarily just quarterback play, but it's who is going to be handling the ball, who gets their hand on the ball early and often. I think Baltimore ends up getting this win. And at the end of the season, when it's all said and done, 11-5, Steelers will go under us. And I probably, I'm going to go steady here at a 10-6 for Pittsburgh, who gets a playoff nod. Cleveland Browns, for all intents and purposes, they're kind of the team that misses more hits than misses, more misses than hits. I'm going to have, Steelers 10-6, Cleveland Browns 9-7. And of course, because of the offensive line in Cincinnati, and the continuing pressure, forcing turnovers by opposing teams, Bengals go 8-8. So they don't get over the hump. They don't jump past go. They do not collect $200. I'm picking Cincinnati at 8-8.
I think Cincinnati wins 6 games. I just don't. I mean, that defense. I mean, that defense in the AFC North is absolutely brutal. And you can say whatever you want about the Browns back end. Their front four is pretty scary. But I agree with your assessment. I think the Ravens go 12 wins. I think the Steelers make the playoffs, and the Browns are on the bubble. Rudy, this has been so much fun. We love having you on. How can we support your career?
Oh, I appreciate the support thus far. Everybody can go throw me a follow at Rude Dog Reyes. You can go to the rudedogshow.com with a lot of great interviews, commentary, conversation pieces. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me basically everywhere, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. That's where I'm at.
Rudy, real quick, because people want to know, give us your prediction score-wise for the Texans-Steeler game today.
Steelers, I'm probably going to be a little bit – I'm not going to go as generous as most people probably think. I'm probably going to pick – I'm going to say 24-14 Pittsburgh.
So you think they hold Deshaun Watson down, pretty much in check with only 2 touchdowns?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Rudy, thanks so much. Love having you on. We'll have you on again down the road when the Steelers, are to check on their season. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks again. Take care.
All right, that was Rudy Reyes. Definitely follow him on social media. Does a tremendous job. When we come back, we're going to have Brandon Jackson and Jay Andrews, part of the Titletown Brawl Network, join us to talk about my Green Bay Packers. You're listening to the full Monte Sports Show. We work hard on Sundays so you don't have to. Sports and comedy. All right, Jay, Brandon, how are you guys today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Thanks for having us on.
All right, Brandon, are you a ghost today? Is this what's happening on the screen right here?
I'm just preparing my mind right now. My washer broke down about a week ago. I'm sitting here, just getting my thoughts together. I'm watching my clothes right now. At my mother-in-law's house, and I'm watching the clothes, and all I could think about is the spin cycle and how I'm about to put Jay Andrews in the spin cycle.
Wow, Jay!
Spin cycle. The only thing that makes you a spin cycle is the fact that you're dizzier than a 3 drunk man. Come on now.
By the way, gotta give you props. I don't know if you last time you guys were on the show, I did not have this, but you gotta love the Packer banners, right, Jay?
Yes, I love the Packer banners.
And if you look at Jay right here, look at his beautiful Aaron Rodgers. He's got his stuff. Brandon's just walking around, just having a good time at this point.
Look, I'm doing work. Well, I'm about to work Jay Andrews today. So that's
all right.
Really
let's get.
He hasn't worked anything since he retired at 27. Come on
now. Wow. Okay, Jay, let's just start right off. And listen, I have a lot of conversations about this, but for my money, there is not a better wide receiver in the history of the Green Bay Packers than Sterling Sharp. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, I will agree to disagree because in talent-wise, by far, yes, he was. But he missed a lot of games. And also, if you think about longevity and production-wise over that length of time, you got to name guys like Driver, Jennings, Nelson, Adams. These guys are just as important to their offense and their quarterbacks and how their offense is performed. And they did it for a longer period of time. And some of those guys, a lot of those guys have rings, and that separates a lot. So, and even Driver is the all-time leader. I mean, so yes, in talent-wise, yes, but he had a short career. See, there he goes.
Yeah, I was about to check you now. You know, Drive is up there now. Come on.
Driver, so you agree with it? Brandon, you agree with him? You don't think Sterling Sharp's the best wide receiver in the NFL? For the Packers?
He's one of them. That was Jay Andrews' era. That wasn't my era.
Oh,
wow. Okay. So who's the best?
That was back when the Packers wearing the leather hats, right?
Wow.
You would know you were playing about that time.
Wait a minute. So, Jay, who's the best wide receiver in Packer history?
Well, if you look at record-wise, production, playing with several different quarterbacks, and just being overall, I gotta say Driver, man, and he's one of my favorites of all time too.
Okay, all right. Listen, I disagree, but we'll move on. Brandon, look, I've been making the argument all week. For the rest of the season, I'm making the argument. Without Christian McCaffrey, without Saquon Barkley, the best running back in the NFL and the best wide receiver in the NFL is in Green Bay with Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. Am I wrong here?
Well, you're not wrong. I think those two duos will take over the NFL. Adams just need to stay healthy, need to come back from this hamstring and come back strong, which he will. And he'll get about 1,100 yards to complete this season. Aaron Jones is already on track to beat his touchdown record from last year.
So if I say to you, hey, Aaron Jones, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, 50 catches, is that doable for him?
I think you're cutting him short with just saying 10 touchdowns. 1,200 yards total, yes. 50 touches, yes.
Okay. Jay, look, right away, getting props. Jay has a real man cave.
It is a man cave. It's where I hide and do all my work because the family doesn't like to come down here because they got to come through the wood area still. So it is in a cave, and it's clean, and it's my area, my TV, my setup. I got it all down here. This is the studio. This is the lab. This is where it all happens.
I love it. So, Jay, my next question, right? Matt LaFleur, 15-3 in the regular season, now as a head coach. We posted these pictures earlier. You know, you have Sean McVay 2-0. You have Cliff Kingsbury 2-0. You have Matt LaFleur. Talk about what you like. What did he learn from last year to this year? Because I got to be honest with you, they were a horrible second-half team last year, and I think he got exposed as a rookie coach. What I love is his first 15 plays were unstoppable last year. They were the best first-quarter team. But now we're seeing in the second half the misdirection. We're seeing this team thrive, not only at the start of the game with scripted plays, but in the second half as well.
Well, you have to think, too, he knows this roster better. He knows he has a better feel for what Rodgers' skill set can do for him and expand in this offense. And Rodgers has said it himself. He's playing with a new killer instinct. He's playing with an inspiration that we haven't seen in years. I mean, that play a couple of weeks ago where MVS drops the pass on that out route, and 2 plays later, he drops an even prettier dime to him and almost scores the touchdown, is something that we wouldn't have seen the last 2 or 3 years, especially last year. Somebody else comes on the field or he goes somewhere else, but he's got a confidence in just this. I mean, nobody's throwing the ball better than him right now. Let's be real. I mean, it's not a homer thing, but the guy is just got a skill set, and when he plays like this, it can't be stopped. And that's why it's easy for LaFleur to do things, because you don't have to worry about third down and distance because you have Aaron frickin' Rodgers.
Yeah,
it's plain and simple.
Listen,
I'm with you, Jay. I'm with you, Jay.
He's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and rightly so. So, Brandon, here's where we're going to go off the rails on this show because Jay disagrees with us. Here's what I don't like. The LA Clippers built their team this offseason to beat the Lakers. The Clippers blew a 3-1 lead to Denver. They never got to play the Lakers.
Right.
So, Matt LaFleur built this team to beat the San Francisco 49ers, who have 13 guys who are injured.
Right.
They drafted Jordan Love, who's third on the depth chart. They drafted A.J. Dillon, who is not going to place Aaron Jones. I love what Matt LaFleur is doing schematically, calling the plays. But when it comes to the draft, they whiffed. Am I wrong here?
Yes, I do believe they whiffed. But at the same time, I want to go back to what you said about the Clippers. All right, so right now the Clippers got put out, all right, by the Nuggets, and LeBron is going back to the championship. All right, I will guarantee victory. And also with that, when you talk about 13 guys out, we had 26 guys out the year we went and won the Super Bowl. So when you look at back to the Clippers, building their roster to beat the Lakers, it's always that stigma where you can't look too far ahead.
Right. So do you agree with me in saying that Matt LaFleur was so worried about his good friend Kyle Shanahan? He's like, we got to build this. San Francisco, listen, I don't know what's going to happen, but when you lose Kittles, when you lose your best defensive player, San Francisco doesn't look like they're getting to the NFC Championship. The Packers are, and they have two guys they drafted who aren't going to see the field.
And Monte, that's what I was getting to. You know, when you look too far ahead, you know, you make mistakes, critical mistakes, and I feel like the Packers did make a critical mistake with that. But when you do, and I'm looking ahead right now at who the Packers have these next 3 to 4 games, and man, you know, you thought the Saints were going to be great, you thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to be great. If the Packers can pull these next couple games off, I can really see them having a goose egg in the losing column this year. And what a shame it would be if the Packers can go 16-0 without fans. That's tough. I almost teared up when I was thinking about it.
You just said the Packers, if they could go 16-0?
Now he's saying
I'm
that.
Not,
before he was not on board, but now he's saying that after
I'm not making any predictions. What I'm saying is if they can go. And right now, the two teams that kind of stood in their way are very lackluster right now.
You know, it's amazing.
If he drafted a wide receiver in the first round, he'd be doing them no better than what MVS and Lazard are right now at the number 2. Because did you see Jefferson with the Vikings? Have you seen Ruggs in Vegas?
Oh yeah, we're going to get to that
but see, that's what you fail to realize. They don't have Aaron Rodgers.
And let's see about Dylan when it's December and there's fans or no fans, and that guy is there, and you're needing to rest Aaron Jones, and so you actually have a third back that's dependable.
Well, that's why you had Jamal.
That's why you had Jamal. John Runyon Jr. already stopped in and played in the first game of the season and did very well at guard. So you already have these draft picks that are stupid. DeGuara already looks like he's a better tight end right now in this short sample size than we've seen from Sternberger. So all these picks that everybody's saying are stupid, we've seen already be
all right. But Jay, we're gonna get to those picks.
Jay, we still looked at those picks for future reference, not present.
They're already playing now, though, in the present.
Jay, we're gonna get to those picks. We're gonna bring on Rico in about 5 minutes. And we're going to talk about your fantasy football, how you drafted all these rookies at wide receiver, and it's been a disaster. But let's move on.
Disaster.
It's been a disaster. All right,
it
Jay.
hasn't been a disaster at all, actually, because those rookie running backs that B-Jack didn't want are killing for me.
Hey, your rookie wide receivers have been a disaster. But let's talk about the defense here of the Packers. Christian Kirksey, 24 tackles in 2 games. We saw this coming. It was no shocker. In 2016 with the Browns, he had 148 tackles, and in 2017, 138 tackles. Talk about this defense, Jay. What do you like, and can they be a top 7 unit?
They can if Kenny Clark can stay healthy. Because as much as we love everybody else on this defense, Kenny Clark is the key. And if I want to put this in layman's terms here, right? Let's go. Jair Alexander is the heart of this defense. All right. Kenny Clark is the backbone. The Smith brothers are the soul. And Kirksey is the kahunas, man. And he is a huge upgrade from a very soft Blake Martinez that described his job as a cleanup guy, and first contact was about 5 yards down the
Jay, let me interrupt you for a second. Why did this pick in the media, everyone in Green Bay knew that this pickup would be a positive. Why did the national media just ignore this? This guy's a tackling machine.
Because we're in Green Bay.
Health, because he hasn't been healthy in 2 years. And so the entire Green Bay Packers team from 2016 to 2018 was constantly injured with the same type of nagging stuff. A new coach comes in, a new type of ways of dealing with, you're taking care of your body. And we've seen a very much lower, these nagging injuries. Yeah, people still blow out their knees and that's part of football. But these hamstring pulls and all this, the high ankle sprains, a lot of that has to do with how you're taking care of your body, the nutrition in which you're eating and all that stuff. And these younger guys just feel like they pay more attention to that, and they're more in tune with the swing of ups and downs of where that stuff goes and staying right with it so that their team has the best chance of staying healthy in these opportunities.
We're talking with Jay Andrews and Brandon Jackson, Titletown Brawl. We're going to get to our final question, then we're going to bring Rico on and talk a little bit fantasy football. But, guys, first, Brandon, we'll start with you before we get our prediction for the New Orleans game. I mean, just talk about this right here. Bart Starr, 16 years. Brett Favre, 16 years. Aaron Rodgers, 16 years. You could say whatever you want about the Green Bay Packers, but the stability at quarterback is you couldn't even draw this up, that your last 3 starting quarterbacks, for all intents and purposes, have been pretty much 16 years. I think Aaron Rodgers has another 2 years. Brandon, talk about what it means for you being a former running back, a Super Bowl winner. When you go into the huddle, you're down 3 with 2 minutes left, and you have these guys with their experience and their talent running the huddle.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've played with 2 out of the 3 guys. I had the privilege to meet Bart and his wife, Cherry, and I also went to their I think they have a camp out somewhere in Wisconsin where they help underprivileged kids. It was awesome just to be out there and experience that and talk to Bart. But
Brandon, can you give us one story or something where something they said in practice or in the locker room or during the huddle where you were a little nervous about the outcome and you're like, damn, man, we're good with their leadership?
Yeah, we're playing the Seahawks, all right, in the playoffs, and it was a 200 protection. That just means it's three-step drops. I had no release. I had to stay in protection, and Brett looks at me and say, "Get out." And I'm like, "Well, Brett, it's 200 jet protection. 200 jet protection. I got to protect you." He looked at me and said, "Get out," and went and said, "Hut." I'm like, all right. So I get out. He throws me the ball, touchdown. And I'm just like, wow. Just imagine if I did not go out. Like, oh. So just playing with a guy like that played for 16 years and knew the game and knew the ups and downs and knew what was coming. It was crazy. And then you get to the sideline and coach is about to chew me. I'm like, well, Brett told me. He was like, all right, do what he says. And I was like,
that's what I was going to say. You're on the field, and Brett or Aaron tell you to do something. It's like Tom Brady. You override the coach. Right, all right, so finally here, we have a big Sunday matchup. The Saints taking on the Packers. Guys, I've said this for 2 years, and people have killed me on social media. Jay, we'll start with you first. The Saints are the most overrated team in the history of the NFL. They'll win your regular season games, but they're not going to win in the playoffs. And the simple reason is that because Drew Brees can't throw the ball consistently. He's Dwayne Wade in his last year. I'll never forget the time Dwayne Wade helped Miami Heat win in his last year. He scored 30 points in the playoffs, and he's like, this is what I do. Well, the next 2 games, he didn't have 30 points combined. Drew Brees is a shot fighter. Packers roll here. Am I wrong, Jay? Let's start with you.
No, you're not, because the Packers without Davante Adams, and they can make them on defense and offense, and they can limit them when they're on defense. The Packers just need to get a couple turnovers here, and Aaron Jones really has to be featured in the pass game here. He's obviously got a skill set that is unlike a lot of other backs in the league, and I think he's a better version of what the Saints have in Alvin Kamara, just in my opinion.
Jay, give us a score for this game, and then we'll get to Brandon.
I got the Packers winning 38-24 in this one, with or without Davante Adams. I don't think it matters. They had some of the highest scoring games of their season last year when Davante was on the shelf, including that 4-touchdown extravaganza from Aaron Jones in Dallas.
In Dallas, exactly. All right, Brandon, you agree or disagree?
I disagree. Jay and I had a talk with Matt Hamilton about this. Like, Jay, you know good and well that the Packers are in the same situation that the Saints are in. Both defenses are good, not great. They're good, but they're missing their key wide receiver. Their backs are good, but their backs are not the guy when it comes to wide receiver. Yes, you can line Jones up out wide. Yes, you can line Kamara up out wide, but they're not wide receivers. They're running backs, and they need to be in the backfield. They can be out wide catching balls, but it's different. It's a different element to that game when you have that wide receiver, and the Packers do not have that wide receiver. Lazard has to step up. MVS has to step up, and any other backup that's not on the radar right now. They have to step up in this game.
So you went a long-winded way of saying exactly what I just said and saying that you're disagreeing with me. That's great. I mean,
But
go home. It's fine.
Brandon, do you have them winning? Yes or no?
Yes, I have them winning.
See, score.
I disagree with your premise on how they're going to win.
Oh, don't use big words.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring on Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano right now. He's been on your show. And so we don't all talk at once. Let me start this conversation. And then we'll go Jay, Rico, and then Brandon, because that's how it is on the screen. No other order. So I listened to your show, and I listened to the one where Rico was on talking about fantasy football. Now, listen, guys, Jay did a terrible job of drafting his wide receivers. Now, this is a horrible graphic, but I just want to point to you how I'm so money. First of all, I'm 7-1 in the 4 leagues that I'm in. Normally, I do 1 league, but since I'm third on YouTube, when you type in sports shows and trending, I am now a media personality, and people want to beat the champ. They want to beat the guy who's on TV, who's on camera. So last week, when you play fantasy football and you get 150 points, that's good. Last week, I had 207 points, and I didn't start my best one of the best wide receivers. I had 207 points. I'm 7-1, and I'm not even paying attention to my fantasy football leagues. If I paid attention, I'd be 14-0. And people are saying, Monte, how can you be 14-0 and you played 8 games? Because I'm so good. They're going to give me 2 victories. So, Jay, talk about your team, your record that you're in with Brandon, because you picked a lot of rookie wide receivers who've been terrible. Jay, the floor is yours.
First of all, I took Michael Thomas. I took Marquise Brown, and Thomas didn't do anything. Marquise has been great. I have Jamison Crowder. I have Robbie Anderson. And
so you have role players as your number 1 wide receiver.
I also have Taylor, and I have Kelsey. Kelsey's a wide receiver.
Because he wouldn't got 2 tight ends in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, but I already traded Kittle and got CEH from Kansas City, and I also got Fuller for him. So it's fine. My team is fine.
What is your record right now, Jay? What's your record?
I'm 2-0.
Okay, Rico, what about you?
All his crap.
Rico, what are you?
Who, me? I got 4 teams, and they're all 2-0, and I'm probably going to go 3-0 on at least 3 of them.
All right, Brandon.
I drafted right.
Brandon, wait, did you say that Jay drafted 2 tight ends in the first 3 rounds?
In the first 2 rounds, yes.
I know, terrible.
And I already traded 1 for a first-round pick. I traded a first round and got.
So wait a minute. So Jay, you drafted 2 tight ends and you traded 1? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
Because I needed a better running back, and so
why did you draft the first and second round pick?
No, who did he pick?
I drafted the first 5th pick overall. I got Michael Thomas.
That's where you jumped.
Brandon, how is your team doing?
My team right now, we are 2-0. I'm in 3 leagues right now, and I'm 6-0.
Okay, all right. And in the league you're in with Jay, when do you guys face off? Is it coming up soon?
I think it's next week. I think it's next week. And right now, Jay is in the distant 3rd place.
All right. Brandon, Jay, how can we follow you? How can we support you on Titletown Brawl? How can we follow you on social media? Jay, start with you, then Brandon will end with you. Thanks so much for coming on. I love having you guys on. You talk trash, and you bring so much more knowledge than I know about the Packers. So we appreciate it. Jay, we'll start with you.
All right, you can hit me up on Twitter at UPJ33 and follow our show. Subscribe, like on any of the podcast areas, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple. Just go there, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, give us a listen, tell your friends. We're there. We have all kinds of great guests. And, B-Jack and I are never going to give you a dull moment, man. Ever, ever, ever. Never. So Never, man. We're always gonna be alive, and even in a loss, a win, we got stuff for you to laugh. And there's always knowledge of things inside all that. So you get your knowledge with a lot of laughs.
All right, Brandon.
Guys, hold on. I just want to say, usually when somebody invites me to dinner, I usually get invited back to dinner. I haven't gotten a second invite. I keep checking my email. I'm like, there's a J. Oh, it's not J.
Rico, I'll take it a step further. I've had these guys on 3 times. One of my podcasts, 2 on my YouTube show. They still haven't invited me on their show. We're like the stepchild.
Jay is the one that makes the calls.
Nice.
Brandon, you have influence. You have influence, right? Get me on the show.
I got you.
Hey,
I got you. You let me know when you're ready. You let me know when you're ready, Rico. Rico, I'm going to have you on.
I can't get anything done unless he approves it first. So you got to look at him.
Rico, I'm going to have you on when Jay and I go a heads up. Rico, Monte, you let me know whenever you're ready. Jay is just so behind. He's so far behind in this media game. Like that's what happened when you get old, when you get afraid and you're intimidated by the champ.
Yeah, you see, Jay, I don't like to pick favorites, but I'm just saying.
I will say this
because I am the one that's in control.
I will say this. Jay has always been my favorite, but I do love Brandon because Brandon and I agree with these draft picks that the Packers made. It was just terrible short term. It may be good long term, but you're in a situation now where you have a chance to win a Super Bowl, and you have 2 guys that you drafted in the 1st and 2nd round who may not even contribute to the team.
You're going to see, Monty. Everybody's going to eat those words at the end of the day, and that's
Monte, Rico. You guys remember when Jay said that that Matt LaFleur will have to take the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands?
Yes, because he wants them to be the running game like Cleveland Browns. And I said we don't have Baker Mayfield here; we have Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
It's early in the year. You always throw the ball early when the weather's great. Wait until the weather's bad. Then we'll see what happens.
Listen, thanks so much, guys. Love having you on. We'll see you down the road. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Sir.
We love you.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy.
See you later, Rick.
Later, Jay.
Those guys are so funny, right, Rico? I mean, they are really. Oh, we got Rico left the studio. Listen, Titletown Brawl. Follow them. They do a tremendous job. Just covering the Packers, covering the NFL, and as you can see, they go back and forth, talk trash. But it's all good. They have a tremendous chemistry, tremendous rapport. Love having them on. We're going to bring on Rico back. I don't know what happened to him. He left the studio. But look, Rico, okay? We said this at the beginning. Rico's theme used to be, and it's going to be this when I introduce him as Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano. That's his claim to fame. But now we got to say, Rico, here comes the money. Because Rico is 2-0. Last year he was 3-1. This year he's 2-0, so he's won 15 out of the last 18 weeks, doing a tremendous job for us. Rico, before we get to the games, I have 2 orders of business. Okay, so the first order of business is I used to get together with my parents every Friday, and we'd go out to dinner. But because of COVID-19, we can't do that. So now we just order food, we microwave it in case there's any, we don't know what the deal is. We microwave it, and then we gather around and we hang out. So my mom said to me this week, Rico, this is what my mom said to me, and I want your reaction. We're eating dinner, and she says to me, can I test some makeup on you? This is what my mom said. So there are 2 thoughts before you react. First of all, my mom's retired. So when did my mom become a scientist and a chemist? And she's like, you're not married. You don't have kids. Let me test this makeup on you instead of lab rats, right? Actually, there's 3 things we want to talk about here, and then I'll let you respond. The second thing is my mom has 2 daughters, Diane and Cynthia. When did I become the designated daughter to try makeup? And third, does my mom think I'm all of a sudden Tootsie? Is this what's happening? My mom said to me at dinner, can I try makeup on you? And then Friday night, I let her put makeup on me.
I'm not a mathematician, but now that I'm putting things together, and when I first turned on the show, the first thing I heard is you talking about how good looking and what studs these coaches are. So I said to myself, all right, maybe Monte's so secure in himself that he could hit on 3 grown adult men on the field. Maybe. But now, yeah, that's the look I had on my face.
Rico, you're telling me Cliff Kingsbury's not a stud? I mean, look at that. You're telling me Matt LaFleur's not good looking? You're telling me, these guys are all studs.
Whether they're good looking or not, I'm not going on a show and screaming how much they're studs.
That they're hunks?
I'm going to go back on the show from the beginning and count how many times you call them studs. So, prior to this, when your mom was like, yeah, I'm going to get the most feminine person in this house and try makeup on. It might be you, buddy.
Do you see the guns? I'm not feminine. I'm a powerhouse.
Look at those guns.
Okay, so that's the first thing. My mom thinks I'm all of a sudden her long-lost daughter that she ever had. So now we want to get to something that's very personal to me. Our good friend Mike, from Pittsburgh sent me an email. And he said, Monte, I don't understand what's happening. Rico has 2 winning weeks. Okay, so he went 2-1 in his both weeks. The first week, you had the Rams and Sean McVay winning over Dallas. And Rico said, I had the Rams winning, but you're so intent on picking the Rams, I'm going to go Dallas. Then you said last week that the Colts are going to dominate the pick of the week, Monte. You said the Colts are going to dominate the Vikings, and you said, you know what? Since you like the Colts so much, Monte, I'm going to go with the Vikings. So Mike says, is he trying to sabotage the show? And I say, Rico, have you ever seen the movie Band of Brothers on HBO? Loyalty, Rico. Loyalty. I have gone 2-0 in my picks, saying when you do your picks against the spread, I said the Rams are going to win over Dallas. You said, since you're taking the Rams, I'm going the other way. I said the Colts are going to blow out the Vikings. They won 28-11. You said, I'm going to take the Vikings. Band of Brothers, Rico. Watch it.
Well, now that you're saying, what I hear is I should be undefeated. If it wasn't for you and your 2 cents, I should be totally undefeated and be 6-0 on my picks. But you're right. Maybe I should listen to you, but I'm not going to do it this week. Just because, the odds are I was wrong twice. How many times can I be wrong before I'm right?
Rico, Band of Brothers. It's a great show. It's about loyalty that these people had towards one another. I think you need to watch it. I think you need to study it.
I'm loyal until my life's in danger. Then I'm like, you're on your own, buddy.
All right, Rico, let's get to the picks. You've been doing a tremendous job. You have 2 winning weeks against the spread, 0 losing weeks. You're 1-1 in fantasy football against me, and we'll get to that in a minute. But let's start with this. The Dallas Cowboys, 1-1 at the 2-0 Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are a 5-point favorite. Break this game down.
Well, to break this game down is difficult because if you do, all you see is Seattle beating them. And I think that I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this game just by the point spread. I don't think they're going to win. I think it's going to be a score of like 28-24, somewhere in that area. But I think they're going to stay. I think Dallas is going to be a little bit more competitive than people think. They got a nice high and a nice kick from that win last week that shocker but it happened to Atlanta. That last second comeback for Dallas to the win. I'm going Cowboys here with the points.
Okay, so you're taking the Cowboys, but you think Seattle wins the game outright?
Yeah, Seattle wins the game, but I'm taking the Cowboys with the points.
So you think it's a late field goal? Is that what you're saying here?
No, I kind of think Dallas comes running down. I think Dallas gets beat pretty well, but they come down for a cheap touchdown at the end of the game to push it within.
So Seahawks in control the whole game.
Seahawks in control the whole game.
Okay, now people are making fun of me about my mom and basically saying, that putting makeup on you. My mom's got to find a way, Rico, to bond with me. I have no redeeming qualities, okay? I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, my mom says, your cousin is getting surgery. You should say a prayer, light a candle. You should text them and make sure they're okay. And my next response was, I'm looking at the NFL schedule. How are the Bills favored over the Rams? See, so like I have no personality. I have no redeeming quality other than I am honest. So
I taught somebody the other day, we were having a conversation, and I said to her, sometimes when I don't know how to answer a question or somebody asks me something that makes me uncomfortable, I skip it like it wasn't even said. So right there, you pulled a Rico. She said something to you, and you just responded with a like just dismissed everything she said in that moment, which is beautiful.
Rico, when my mom doesn't follow sports, when I want to bond with her, I swear to God, I'll just say to her, Mom, give me your top 5 Los Angeles Lakers of all time. Like that's it. That's how I start a conversation with my mother. And she, you know her, she's the sweetest woman in the world. But it's not her, it's me. I have no redeeming qualities. I have no personality.
No, you got some personality. I mean, not much. I don't want to pump you up because you know what? Like, I mean, the guys didn't have you. You've been on their show before, right? I'm still
only once.
Only me too. Only once. What are we, one off? I'm not a one off.
Dude, we're a one night stand.
I'm a one night stand. That's what they think I am, huh?
Well, okay, Rico. Let's move on. The LA Rams 2-0 at the Buffalo Bills. Rico, how the hell is Buffalo favored by 2.5 points here?
Because that being said, Buffalo is a better team. Right now, Buffalo is on fire. Quarterback Josh Allen looks great. I mean, when you watch him, every play, I'm excited to see this game because you know what? The Rams are a really good team, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. But I think that they're going to, the Bills have showed why they should be favored. The Rams have had 2 good games. They've had 2 good games, and I really am. I like the Bills.
Okay, explain that to me. First of all, let's talk about the sideways sign on the full Monte show. You can't even put it straight. It looks like you just threw it up there 2 minutes before the show.
Well, I was getting a bad reflection, so I had to you see it? See, my head is blocking the other side. But if I go like this, then it's popping off, and I had to figure out a way. So I figured I wanted to be a little trendy and put it sideways.
Okay, here's my question. How can you say the Bills are a better team when the Bills beat 2 bad teams? They beat the Dolphins, who we don't know what they're going to do. The Rams have at least, beaten 2 decent teams. I think Philadelphia's going to win today. And, the Rams beat Dallas, who I think are going to make the playoffs. So how are the Bills better than the Rams?
Well, it falls on Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They're just connecting. And when you know what? When you have a wide receiver and a quarterback that are hot, you need to ride them. If you have them – Stephon Diggs is on my fantasy team. My fantasy team is so stacked that he might not even crack the lineup today. But that being said, they have a real good connection, and it's hard to stop that type of connection. And Josh Allen is just a better quarterback. And I think when it comes down to it at the end of the game –
Hold up. Did you just say Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Jared Goff, who's been to a Super Bowl?
Yes. Josh Allen is in the conversation of, at this point in 2 weeks, of MVP candidate. His numbers blow him out of the water. I mean, literally blow him out of the water. Josh Allen is after this week, we're going to start saying, is this for real? What's happening? He's the quarterback that everybody wants.
Jared Goff is 100 times better than Josh Allen at this point in their careers, Rico. It's not even close.
You can't. Well, we'll see. You know what? By next week, we'll see, and I guarantee you'll forget about it. You'll act like you didn't notice. You didn't say it, but we'll find out today. I'm taking Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills with not an easy win, but a win.
Okay.
And cover the spread.
You're talking insanity. I don't even know who you are right now. And let's just talk about our good friend Jared, who said that the Kansas City Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs. He has the Bills going to the Super Bowl.
Well, listen, Jared must keep hearing at the end of the day. He must have one of those buttons that just at the end of the day.
But I will give he did redeem himself for this.
Yep.
Listen. Josh Allen, was a game manager who ran. He was not a thrower. In the first 2 games of the season, he's been a very good quarterback. But you cannot compare him to Jared Goff of the Rams, who went to a Super Bowl.
Again, this is why I'm shocked your fantasy football team does well. You literally live on past accomplishments. Don't make me pull out my Levi. You're living on a past accomplishment. So it doesn't. I mean, look at Brandon. Brandon went to a Super Bowl. Then he went to Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to say this again. First of all, you're attacking Brandon. I don't know why. He's not here to defend himself.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to say this, okay? I'm going to say this. I'm 7-1 in my fantasy football, and I haven't even paid attention to it. If I paid attention, I'd be 14-0 because my team is so good. They give me 2 victories every week.
You love that line.
So, yes, that's a good line. So you have the Buffalo Bills winning this game. They're going to lose. They're going to lose.
Okay, we'll see.
What's the score?
32-25.
Okay, now finally, the Las Vegas Raiders are 2-0 against the very good Bill Belichick. Look how old Bill Belichick looks in this picture. Look how old he looks. But New England is a 6-point favorite. I think New England runs away with this in the second half. Give us your thoughts.
Let me tell you, I like the Raiders. They look great. They looked great this weekend. They just walked through. It's tough to stop Josh.
New Orleans is the most overrated team in the history of the NFL. End of story.
Who? The Raiders?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Yeah.
I've been saying that for 2 years, and you said I'm crazy. Now all of a sudden, you're jumping on the bandwagon.
Listen, a clock is right twice a day. You're allowed to be right, all right? You know what? Every once in a while, the shocker here is that I was wrong. That's what the shock. But that's only a 2-week sample. You know, they could.
Okay, so you don't think New England is going to roll coming off a loss?
No, New England. No, I think that New England should have won that game. By the way. But that being said, no, I think I don't like New England in this game at all. I just don't like it.
Rico, there's no one better coming off a loss than Bill Belichick.
Yeah, well, you said his record without Tom Brady. It's looking that way. What's his record without Tom Brady?
Okay, I will say this. New England's going to have more success under Bill Belichick than the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to have with Tom Brady.
Yes, I agree. I agree 100% with that.
I can't believe you're actually taking the Raiders.
The Raiders, because if you shut down, you can't stop Waller. He catches the ball. You know, he only had 106 yards last week, but the problem with those 106 yards was like 7 of them got third down, first downs. So, you know, you have to pick your poison. Are you going to let them run all over you, or are you going to let them undercut the pass to you? And that's just what they're doing. So I like the Raiders. Not only do I like the Raiders, I like the Raiders a lot in this game, which concerns me, but I like the Raiders a lot.
Rico, what's up with the golf bashing today?
With the golf bashing, I like Allen better. I like Josh Allen better. Josh Allen is gonna come out of the pocket. He's gonna look great.
So give us the score.
Buddy, here's my line for him.
Give us the score.
67 yards, 67 rushing yards, 345 passing yards. 3 touchdowns.
Against the Rams defense with the number 1 cornerback who's going to shut down Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Give us. I can't believe. Give us your Raiders score here, because you're going to lose this week. You're going to lose this week. You're going to go 1-2.
There is no way I'm losing. I might go 3-0 because now I'm going completely against you.
I don't even think you're confident in your picks this week. I see fear in your eyes.
What I'm worried about is I'm so confident in my picks that I'm worried I'm going to lose. I'm so confident.
So give us your score for the Raider game.
The Raider game, because I said he had 3 touchdowns. I say 34-24, 10-point win.
Oh, so the Raiders are going to go 34 points on Bill Belichick defense, who's coming off.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. 28-14. They're not only going to win, they're not only going to cover, they're going to win outright.
This is. You do realize that Vegas makes their money because they know what they're doing. They have the Patriots winning by 6.5. It'll probably be 7. And you're saying the Raiders are going to do a 21-point spring turnaround against Vegas. That's what you're saying.
Raiders were the underdog last week too, and they won. Straight out won. They were a 3-point underdog, and they blew them out.
I don't even know who you are right now, Rico.
Raiders are for real. I'm telling you.
I don't even know who you are right now. You're going to go. You may go. Oh, now I know you're tremendous at this. That's why we call you. Show me the money. Here comes the money. But you're going to go 0-3 this week. That's what I'm telling you. You're going to go 0-3. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry.
I feel more confident that you say that about my picks. Every time you say that, I feel more and more confident that I'm going to go 3-0.
Yeah, which makes me believe that Mike knows exactly what he's talking about, because it looks like that you basically don't care what I say. You have no confidence in me. Band of Brothers, go back to that loyalty.
Loyalty? I have loyalty to George Lopez. That's who I have loyalty to.
Why do you have loyalty to George Lopez? I don't know.
George was giving me some good basketball picks when I needed them.
All right, Rico. So, started the first season. I basically gave you the first week, and you won. Now we're back. We're tied up 1-1 in our fantasy football picks. We can only pick a quarterback twice in one season. Rico gets the first pick of the draft. Who are you taking right now as your quarterback?
Allen.
Oh, against the Rams defense.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray because they're playing Detroit, and the Detroit is a terrible, terrible defensive team. I think Kyler Murray may throw for 350 yards. Rico, you talk about Josh Allen, but Kyler Murray is so good. He's averaging 79 yards rushing per game. 79 yards rushing per game. So I'm going to take him as my starting quarterback. I'm going to give you a moment now. I'm going to give you a moment to switch and basically say, you know what? I'm not going to take Josh Allen. I'm going to take a different quarterback. This is your chance to not take Josh Allen and redo your first pick.
Well, the reason I'm also taking him is because we're only allowed to pick a quarterback twice. So I figure since I think he's going to do good this week and he's going to be on a hot streak, I want to get it out of the way and save my big guns for the end of the season. There's still a lot of weeks left, and I want to save my Mahomes and
Fair enough. Okay, so I start with the running backs. I'm going to take Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's going to have that Seattle defense is horrible, so I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. Who are you taking?
Alvin Kamara with the New Orleans Saints.
Okay, obviously they go against the Green Bay Packers. Rico, I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor, the rookie running back out of Indianapolis, and the reason why I'm taking him is the Colts have the best offensive line in the NFL. They're third in sacks. You had them losing to the Vikings last week. I had them winning. They're going to roll against the Jets, and late in the game, they're going to be up by so many. They're just going to run it. So I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor as my second running back from the Colts.
Who are the Saints playing today?
They're playing the Green Bay Packers.
And that's right. And since I have Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara on my real fantasy football team, I will be taking Aaron Jones today.
That's a great pick. That is a great pick, Rico. Good job there. Quickly, I know this is not on your picks, but do you have the Saints winning, or do you have the Packers winning?
The Packers winning. I'm not sure about the score. The Packers are just a far superior team right now.
No, I agree with you 100%.
I expect a double-digit win.
Who's your wide receiver?
Since I'm going to double up with Josh Allen. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs, wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills.
Rico, did you get emotional when you saw this?
I did. I was more emotional that somebody may or may not have known more about Pittsburgh than I did on the show. But he's very knowledgeable.
He's very knowledgeable. Since I'm taking Kyler Murray, I'm also going to take DeAndre Hopkins as my pick. I think he does a tremendous job today, and I think he has over 100 yards and maybe 2 touchdowns.
I will be taking as my second wide receiver, Juju from Pittsburgh.
Listen, we talked about that. Rico, are you concerned about Juju Smith-Schuster and the fact that they're starting to say he's a little immature? He's not the first guy on the premises. He's not the last guy to leave. Big Ben has really been focused in film, and Juju doesn't seem to have the work ethic. Or do you just say, listen, he's young, he needs to grow? Well,
if you remember last year, that was my biggest problem with him, is that he's a gamer. He'll rather sit home and play video games than do anything else, which is very annoying because, you're an adult making millions of dollars. You should be, I'm taking him today. I think he's their number one receiver. He's got his talent is natural more than it is probably studying. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could probably be in super elite. He could be in
again. He's 22, so he's 22. So let's not kill him. I'm going to take Amari Cooper just because the Seahawks defense is so bad, and I just think actually, you know what I'm going to do, Rico? Here, instead of taking Amari Cooper, I'm going to take DJ Metcalf for Seattle because I think they're going to give up points, and I don't want to take points away because I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott. So I'm going to take DK Metcalf. Now, you have your 2 wide receivers. I have our 2 wide receivers. I do not want to. I'm going to leave them for you because I don't want to take Andrews because obviously, they're going up the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to do something here that George recommended me to do last week. And I know they have a great defense. So my first thought was I should take Tyler Higbee of the Rams, but I'm going to take Zach Ertz. And the reason why I'm taking Zach Ertz is I don't believe in that Cincinnati Bengals defense, so I'm taking Zach Ertz. Are you annoyed with that pick?
No, I'm very excited with that pick because I'm taking Tyler Higbee. I only had his name down because I just assumed you wouldn't even touch that. So when you said it, I was like, and then you just dropped the ball. That was it. That was the win right there. You had your win in your hands, and you picked Hurts.
Okay, what defense are you taking?
We were allowed to pick. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Okay. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They're playing at Denver, who's decimated. They have a backup quarterback. I think Tampa Bay Bucks, we showed this earlier. I think Todd Bowles is in the line of those coordinators who are just phenomenal defensive coordinators, can't be head coaches. Norv Turner, Wade Phillips. I think Tampa Bay has one of the best defenses. So let me just review. You're taking Josh Allen. You're taking Kamara, Aaron Jones, Stephon Diggs, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Higbee, and the Steelers. I'm taking Kyler Murray, Ezekiel Elliott, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Metcalf, Zach Ertz, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's going to be a good week, Rico. It's going to be a good week of football.
Yes, for me, it's going to be a good week.
Listen, people are killing me saying I messed up, but they're playing the Bills, who have a very good defense.
They do have a good defense, but you know what? That pick was a little bit for George too. I did that pick for George because I know I had to. After not picking them to win today, I knew he was going to be a little, hurt.
Rico, I love how you show loyalty to George and not to the host of this show, but that's fine. All right, Rico, we come to that moment that we love. Rico's rant. Every week Rico Show Me the Money goes off on a rant. We never know where he's going to go. So I'm just going to post this right now because I know when he's done, I'm just going to be like, what just happened? The floor is yours. Rico's rant, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go. I literally feel like I'm going crazy because, I have the antibodies. I had no, for the COVID, I had no symptoms, but I walk around. I live right by 3rd in California where there's all these restaurants. It's packed. Everybody's outside. They think that they're outside, that it's okay. I don't understand if I'm the crazy one that I'm locked in my house, worried, still kind of thinking if I should be wiping down groceries. And the odds are I can't get sick. But yet I see everybody outside having a dandy old time. And I'm wondering, am I the crazy one? Maybe I'm the one who's wrong. Maybe I'm the one who should start saying, you know what? It's fake. It's not real. Maybe I should go outside. And then the other day, I just think that everybody's living their life a little bit easier. I saw a dog the other day. He went to the bathroom, and I said, you know what? Look how easy that was. He didn't have to think about it, did his business, and walked away. I want to live that way. I want to be able to do my business, walk away, and not have to think about anything.
I don't know what a dog going to the bathroom has to do with anything else. I mean,
but I saw a dog go to the bathroom, and I looked him right in the face, and he looked at me and was like, I'm winning, and he walked away. And I was like, this dog.
So, okay, Rico, I was at the DMV and I joked around because I didn't have ID. And I said, did you need a urine sample? So basically, you equate the ultimate happiness and the ultimate success with being able to go to the bathroom in public?
Oh, I didn't even go there. I didn't even go that far. I just went to the fact that dog goes to the bathroom and walks away. No wipe, no nothing. Doesn't even cross his mind. Yes, I wish. If I could just stop wherever I am and drop, that'd be the greatest thing. I mean, what more relaxing thing is that than that? Yeah, I know.
Rico.
A little left.
Rico, finally, have you ever seen 3 of the best games on national TV? We have Seattle versus Dallas at 4. Sunday night, Green Bay Packers at New Orleans, and then you have the Kansas City Chiefs against the Ravens. Have you ever seen a lineup like this? I know you hate the Thursday night lineup.
No, well, after last week's, they followed the worst game by one of the best. But the worst Thursday night followed by the best weekend. So I guess that when they were doing the schedule, they said to themselves, you know what, we'll set the bar really low and then
go really high.
Because it's going to be a great day of football. I'm really excited for it.
Rico, I'm going to beat you in fantasy football, and you're going to go 0-3 in your picks. And I always build you up with your picks, but you're way off this weekend.
No, I am so confident. I feel like I'm going to call my bookie right now and double everything.
All right, Rico. Thanks so much. Enjoy the games. We'll see you. We're off Tuesday for the presidential debate, so we'll see you next Tuesday. We'll see you next Sunday.
All right. See you next Sunday.
Thanks so much. That was Rico. Show Me the Money Graziano. Always does a tremendous job. Now, look, guys, we are off Tuesday, because we are going to give way to the presidential debate. So we are off Tuesday. We usually do an hour show, and they've been very popular, but we're taking off. So this week, I normally do the extra point, but we're going for 2 this weekend, okay? We are going to go for 2, and I'm going to give you 2 things. First of all, shout out to LeBron James. LeBron James in his 17th year, okay, in his 17th year is going to the NBA Finals. Did you watch Game 5 last night? In the fourth quarter, he dominated. He took over the game in his 17th year. He's still the best player in the NBA. Look at this. Look at this right here. NBA Finals appearances. Lakers 32, Celtics 21, Warriors 11, LeBron James 10. He has more appearances than most NBA franchises. Look at this. Again, the graphic is not great, but LeBron in the playoffs over the past decade. 2011 NBA Finals, 2012 NBA Finals. 2019, he was injured. Now he's going back to the finals. 9 out of the last 10 years. You can't deny this man's greatness. You can't deny it. You can't deny it. So props to LeBron James. They said he couldn't win in the West, and he's winning. Now, finally, we are off on Tuesday night, and the reason why we're off is we have the presidential debate coming up. Look, guys, it's been 3 years. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but when Heather Heyer was murdered in Charlottesville, the guy on the left here said they're surrounded by good people. He called these people, the neo-Nazis, good people, okay? We look around. This is what's happening in America. Militarized police. We see people, cops, murdering innocent black people. We have COVID-19. Rico just talked about it. It's on the rise again. Florida had 1,000 deaths last week. They're opening up the restaurants and gyms. I go to my gym here in my condo. You have to wear a mask. I go first thing in the morning. No one's there. Businesses are closed. We watch games, and it's not even a full stadium. It's like 10% max, 15% max. Remember, this guy said this. When you have 15 Americans with coronavirus and 15 within a couple of days, it's going to be 0 soon. In February, we are at over 200,000 deaths. Okay, we have military police attacking innocent protesters. We've become the S-hole country that he said. Again, I'm not telling you how to vote, but I want my America to be this. And maybe I'm a dreamer. Maybe I'm Martin Luther King. I have a dream. But I want America to be these 2 little kids. Now, I'm not saying that if you elect Joe Biden, it's going to be all hugs and kisses. But we cannot survive 4 more years of this. We can't. We can't. And we won't. So if you haven't voted, go to iwillvote.com and register to vote, because we need a change in this country. Change in this country. I want to thank Rudy Reyes for joining us. I want to thank Titletown Brawl, Jay Andrews, and Brandon Jackson. I want to thank Rico Show Me the Money Graziano, and I want to thank you for watching the full Monte Sports Show here on YouTube. And in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.